I was thinking about how gases such as air are so nebulous and ephemerous and almost don't even exist, while solids like rocks, on the other hand, have a very strong presence. Rocks are solid and sturdy, they stay around forever and make even water go around it. They're actual and affecting. Any tool we make has rocks or metal as the actual actor part, because they have power and capability. On the other hand, air is just a temporary fleeting thing without any solid presence. It's nothing but hot air. Emptiness. With a small breeze, the air is gone. It's so impermanent. So because of this, my main Khan culture, which are currently labeled the Eushirish, believe that the most powerful beings, the gods, must be fundamentally made of rocks. And so they believe that everything is on a spectrum of air to rock, and they measure the divinity of things based on this spectrum, on the quality of their airiness or rockiness. The most divine things are rocks and rocky, because again, they're solid, physical, real. And the least divine things are gases and airy, because again, it's fleeting, invisible. It's the most impermanent and nebulous ephemerous. And right in the middle, there's water. Now this isn't a comment on goodness or badness, just on divineness and lack of divineness. There can be evil gods too. Now I know I just said that water is right in the middle between air and rocks, but in fact, water is just a light version of a more special liquid, milk. Everything that exists was originally milk, and has since been separated and isolated out from it. Milk is the most fundamental material. Everything is contained within it, but at the same time, because it contains everything within it, you can also say it's actually the least elemental material. So it depends on your perspective. It's both at the same time. Water is also considered to have this property, but milk is even more special because it contains life and bones too, and while water is considered to be in the middle of the divine to non-divine spectrum, milk is considered the most and least divine thing at the same time. It breaks the spectrum. Now, milk is just a magical thing that doesn't naturally exist anymore. It has to be created by living beings through magical means. And since we're on the topic, blood is considered to be a milk derivative that has a really high concentration of life, and a very small concentration of bones, though it's still there. It is the source of growth. Speaking of things that break the spectrum, another interesting material to talk about is fire. Because fire turns wood into smoke, solids into gases, divine into non-divine, it is considered to be dis-divine. Not non-divine, it's not even on the scale of divineness. In fact, you can think of the divineness spectrum as having the shape of a horseshoe, and since fire bridges the rocks and the air, meaning the divine and the non-divine, you could think of fire's place as being the empty space between the horseshoe ends. In fact, this is very important and has many connotations, and in general there's a lot more to say about fire. For example, that there's a lot of taboos around it. But all that is for a whole other video, or even series. Back to the spectrum, true gods are all fundamentally rocks, meaning that their essences, their cores, are rocks. Though they do often have shells around their cores, which may come in many forms, such as humanoid or animaloid, but at their core, they're pure, holy, solid rock. There are always gods being born and dying from wars and stuff, and there can be many gods of the same thing, maybe taking charge of different regions of the world, or just becoming subordinate to another one to work for them. And once gods die, their shells disintegrate, and their cores get left to just sit there. This is how land formations came about. All the land formations are corpses of dead gods. Some of those dead gods were more major or minor than others, and that's why the land formations they leave behind are bigger or smaller. Now humans also have a core that is our divine essence, aka the spiritual, everlasting part of our being. But in addition to this, unlike gods, humans also have the soul, which is our life essence, aka the material, fleeting part of our being. The core is the rockness, divineness of our being, and is housed in our bones, and the soul is the airness, non-divineness of our being, and is housed in our lungs. Both are necessary. Only with both of them can we live. We need a soul unlike gods because we're not totally divine. We have a non-divine, airy shell around our cores. Even though gods also have a shell around their cores, Their shells are also made of divine rock-like material, though we can't really understand what that means. Our airy shell is actually what humans are mostly made of. That's why we're so weak and die so easily. Also, this that people have both a core and a soul is why babies have to drink milk. It's the perfect liquid that contains in it both bones and air, so it builds it up for them. Milk isn't good for gods because it has air in it. Water isn't good for babies because it doesn't have bones in it. In our body, the soul and core fight each other in a way that theoretically maintains a balance, like yin-yang. The core is the source of our spiritual desires, and the soul is the source of our carnal desires. And that's why there's so many bones around the lungs, because that's the part of the body where the soul and the core connect and talk and fight each other for balance. You can also think about it like the core is where the shoulder angel lives, while the soul is where the shoulder devil lives. But the Eushirish also believe that thought and strength come from the lungs, for reasons I'm not going to get into now, because that's a whole other long discussion. But my point is that the soul is not all shoulder devil. The shoulder devil is just a part of it and lives in it, and the shoulder angel is just a part of the core and lives in it. More on our cores. Nails and teeth are two parts of our cores that shows outside of the skin. Therefore, they are the importantest parts of us. This is because our cores are our divine spiritual centers, so if there are any parts that break through to the surface, that means that they need to be shown to the world for a reason. They're important. When the gods made us, they were forced to have these parts on the surface because they were simply unable to hide it under our flesh. It just wouldn't work. These organs are so powerful spiritually that you just could not bury them. So, more on teeth. The teeth are a visual representation of our internal core. It's like a health bar. It shows the status of the core. Generally, the older you get, the more teeth you lose because you're losing strength as you age and get closer to dying. The Eushirish would say, haven't you noticed that the old guys with teeth are healthier than the old guys without teeth? And when a tooth rots, that shows that a part of your core is rotting. It means you're accumulating bad spiritual energy, for the lack of a better term. So if a tooth falls out, it's a bad sign. And when teeth fall out, you have to keep all of your teeth that fall out and dispose of them in a religious ritual so that it takes the bad energy with it as it gets destroyed. So it becomes like a scapegoat sacrifice for your bad energy, for the lack of a better term. Now, tyke teeth falling out is different. The tyke teeth falling out is about the transition from innocent childhood into the age of religious education and learning to take responsibility. Until then, all of your actions were the responsibility of your parents. So when the teeth fall out, it's like saying you're starting fresh. Your past actions have nothing to do with you. The tyke teeth falling out marks the death of their disintelligence. When the adult teeth are grown in, at around age 10, it marks the beginning of their adult life, as they're understood to all of a sudden be smarter and able to understand two higher concepts. As for nails, nails are the cores of the hands. The hands is what makes us human. The difference between humans and animals is that we can do things with our hands and make things, and that's aided by our nails. No other animals have nails, and the Eushirish don't know of monkeys. Nails always keep growing to show us of our never-ending endurance and craftiness and intelligence. Toenails are important because they're a reminder that your feet are your holiest organs. They are the most important body part because 1. Your feet are the closest to, if not directly in contact with, the ground, the rocks which are the holy things. And 2. Whatever is the lowest is considered to be the most respectable and honorful. In their houses, the most important people live on the first floor because we don't want to make them have to walk up. So too, since the feet are the lowest part of the body, it must be the most important. And number 3, your feet hold you up and let you keep going, so they're very important and significant. Because of the spiritual significance of teeth and nails, punishments for religious crimes, like defilement or doing some ritual completely incorrectly, may include removing nails and knocking out teeth, because they're divine parts of us. Now, I have a lot more to say on this subject, but I think that's enough for now. I think this is a good place to wrap it up. And so, there's going to be a part 2, where I'm not going to talk about the more religious parts of it, but instead I'm going to continue talking about gods and cores, and how gods use their cores to perform divine actions, such as lightning storms and stuff, and then how humans might be able to tap into this power as well. But that is for next time. So if that sounds interesting, you know where to find that video. And until then, keep your juices flowing.